What's up, my Central Units? It's the Central Man here, so back again with another WCW pay-per-view review. We're still in the summer for the month of August. I'm going to review some summer-themed WCW pay-per-views. So today I'm reviewing the first Beach Blast from 1992 at the Mobile Civic Center in Mobile, Alabama on the 20th of June 1992. The attendance of the show was 5,000. The first Beach Blast received about 70,000 pay-per-view buys. The commentators for the show are Jim Ross and Jesse the Body Ventura. 1992's WCW, for many fans, is one of the best years they ever did until the Monday Night War era in those mid to late 90s. So this pay-per-view was, I think it's the first under the Bill Watts era. He took over in the start of the year. His version of WCW, you know, he took over from Jim Herd. He was a bit of a piece of shit, what he did to Ric Flair, but that's not saying too much. His version of WCW was kind of crappy. You know, what I mean is, you know, he kind of like, he wants to go back into those 1970s wrestling. You know, it's hard hitting, remove all the padding around the ring, and no flippy dippy moves for you kids. Yep, it has to be techno style. If a wrestler do a move off the top rope, that's a automatic DQ. I think they still do the throwing your opponents over the top rope. Same thing, DQ. It's just, I hate that, but that kind of backfired of Bill Watts. I don't want to get into it for this review. I'm just going to review the show. He ended up leaving in 1993, and then Bischoff took over, and then the rest is history. Anyway, before we get to the matches on the show, there's 7 matches on the card. This show had a beauty contest. It's between Medusa and Missy Hyatt with Johnny B. Bad. That's Mark Merrow as the guest host or the host of the beauty contest. So it's basically 3 rounds. I think one's like a even gown contest. You had Medusa, that's the future Alundra Blaze, by the way, dressing up like a bride. The second one was basically a bathing suit contest, and then you got like, the third one was a bikini contest. Someone stole Missy Hyatt's bikini. I'm guessing that's Medusa. And then Missy Hyatt basically stole Jesse the Body Ventura's like do-rag, you know, his headscarf and his normal scarf to make a customized bikini, and she won the contest. And then afterwards you had Medusa attack Johnny B. Bad, basically self-proclaimed kayfabe raped. You know, he didn't really actually rape Johnny B. Bad. You know, she was pissed off because she didn't won the beauty contest. She's acting like she doesn't want to be there. You can tell by his, her facial expression in these rounds of the beauty contest didn't really. Doesn't want to be there, but I don't think it was a bad segment. It was okay because it's the summertime. You know, sometimes doing these type of segments, I said in my previous pay-per-view reviews, whether it's a WWE pay-per-view review or whatever from other companies, I said like doing segments on a pay-per-view just do not work. You know, it's pay-per-views in pro wrestling was designed to do, it's more like a live highlight reel, action reel. It's the same thing, by the way, but anyway, it kind of served a purpose, so I let it slide. Anyway, so let's get to the matches on the show. So the first match to kick off Beach Blast 1992. And by the way, Beach Blast is WCW's first summer-themed pay-per-view. It's basically their answer to the SummerSlam. That's WWF's summer-themed pay-per-view. And then they did the first of 2, Beach Blast. They did, you know, the second one in 1993. Then Beach Blast becomes Bash of the Beach, and then they continue to do it until the end of the company's existence. I forgot to mention that. So anyway, let's get to the matches on the show. So the first match to kick off Beach Blast 1992. This is for the WCW Light Heavyweight Championship. Flying Brian Pillman, rest in peace. Defending the belt against Scotty Flamingo. Scotty Flamingo is the future Raven, by the way, in ECW and WCW and WWF/WWE and TNA and ROH and other promotion you think of. Anyway, so the match was good. It was a good opener. Here's the one nitpick. They can't really do some high-flying moves because in the Bill Watts era, you cannot do moves off the top rope. Ultimate disqualification, but they gotta play through it. It's more of a technical style match. You know, they kind of work through it. There's one like Pillman hit like a double axe handle off the ring apron. That was kind of okay. The one head scratching moment is, I think it was Flamengo or Pillman did like a move off the top rope. Is that supposed to be a DQ? I am really confused. But anyway, so it was a really good match. Back and forth. In the end, Flamengo beats Flying Brian Pillman. And by the way, Flying Brian Pillman is the only two-time light heavyweight champion in the history of the light heavyweight championship. So Flamengo beats Pillman to win this match to become the new light heavyweight champion. And by the way, and then a month later, he ended up dropping the light heavyweight title to Brad Armstrong. Brad Armstrong is, I think he's the brother of Road Dogg Jesse James. Sadly, he was supposed to face Brian Pillman in a match I think it's one of the September's Clash of the Champion shows. Unfortunately, he suffered a knee injury. I think it was a tour in Japan. And yeah, I think it was the last pay-per-view that the light heavyweight championship was defended, sadly, because it started in October 1991 at Halloween Havoc. I reviewed it last year. Go and check it out. That was won by Brian Pillman. He traded back and forth with Juicing Thunder Liger, and then he dropped the title to Sky Flamingo, and then Flamingo dropped the title to Brad Armstrong. So Brad Armstrong was the final champion of the history of the light heavyweight division. The light heavyweight division, the light heavyweight title is basically the predecessor to the cruiserweight title in the Monday Night War era in those mid to late 90s in WCW in the Monday Night War era. So yeah, I think there were rumors they were planning to do a tournament. Unfortunately, it didn't went in that direction. So yeah, it lasted a year, started in October 91, ended in September of 1992. Anyway, let's move on to the next match of the show. So the next match of the show, we got Ron Simmons, the future Farouk, the future leader of the Nation of Domination, and also future member of the APA with JBL or Bradshaw in the Attitude Era of the WWF, taking on Terrence Made Man, that's Terry Taylor. Because at this moment in time, the York Foundation was gone. It was finito. He was kind of like an enhancement talent, putting over guys. Anyway, it was an okay match. It was an okay match. It wasn't terrible. Like I said, there was no terrible matches on the show. It was just basically good to great matches. But some of these matches on the show were okay. Wasn't terrible, but at the same time wasn't fantastic or it's not really like going to be a 4-star classic. It's more like a 2-star classic in some degree. Anyway, so it was back and forth between Terrence Mayman and I'm gonna call him Terry Taylor. Terry Taylor and Ron Simmons. In the end, Ron Simmons got the victory. He hit Terry Taylor with the power slam for the win. This is just building up for him winning the world title. We'll get to the world title picture later on in this review. So yeah, the match was okay. It was more like putting over Ron Simmons. Basically setting up for him winning the world title. Like I said, you have to wait until later on in this review. So after I reviewed the Sting and Cactus Jack match. Anyway, that was match number 2. Match number 3. We got Marcus Alexander Bagwell, the future Buff Bagwell, taking on Greg the Hammer Valentine. It was an okay match, but Yeah, the whole bulk of the match, you had Valentine working on the leg of Bagwell. Try to keep it short and simple, folks. You know, this match and Terry Taylor versus Ron Simmons, they were short. They were about 6 minutes long. In the end, Valentine locking the figure four leg lock onto Bagwell. Bagwell tapped out, and that was it. Okay match. I think I'd rather have Bagwell putting over Valentine because he didn't really do much with great Valentine in WCW. Very forgettable. I think he was there for a cup of coffee, not like his original run in the 80s, I think, 70s and 80s. But you know, I'd rather have Bagwell putting over because he stick around until the company's existence until the company went under. Sorry, my apologies. Went under in 2001. I wish they put over Bagwell instead of Valentine. Valentine was there kind of like the old veterans, you know. For him, like pinning, like making Bagwell submit, it was a bit disappointed. You know, I wish they basically changed the decision to have Bagwell going over from Valentine, beating Valentine. What I'm trying to say. So, anyway, that was match number 3. Match number 4, we got Sting taking on Cactus Jack in a false count anyway match. So, this was still in the feud between Sting and Vader. By the way, they end up facing each other at the Great American Bash the following month. So this is just a placeholder. You know, Holly Race really assigned Cactus Jack to take down Sting. Basically, subbing him up for Vader at the Great American Bash. Vader was not Vader, sorry. Cactus Jack was not kind of doing anything. He was kind of there. I know you fit in WCW, you know, it's just what it is, but this match was good, way better than their match in TNA in 2009, what I'm trying to say. 17 years later, in a steel cage match at Lockdown 2009, I reviewed that show, was it 2 months ago, go and check it out. The difference between this and their match at Lockdown in 2009, their match at Lockdown in 2009 was a bit disappointed because Sting and Mick Foley, you know, they were way past their prime. Foley didn't really need to win the world title. But this was good. Yeah, the world title was not on the line. It was just basically like, you know, basically a placeholder, a stopgap until Sting faced Vader at the Great American Bash the following month. Anyway, the match was really good. I really enjoyed it. It was a fun match to watch. They're fighting in the crowd. Cactus Jack did like his typical clothesline, the diving elbow off the ring apron onto the exposed concrete. Like I said, Bill Watts era, no ring padding. Trying to go back to the 1970s territory days. You know, it backfired for him. I want to get into it. In the end, Sting hit like really a flying clothesline off the top rope. Like I say, it's no DQ. You know, that's allowed to pin Cactus Jack. That's Mick Foley, by the way. The future Mankind, the future Dude Love, to win this match. And yeah, he moved on to face Vader at the Great American Bash. By the way, Sting hold on the belt. He won the belt at Super Bowl II, a show I reviewed, you know, early this year, you know, in 2022. Go and check it out. That was a good show, by the way. He ended up dropping the WCW World Heavyweight title to Vader at the Great American Bash. And then, I think, a month later, he dropped the title to Ron Simmons. Ron Simmons became the first Black World Champion in professional wrestling history and in WCW history until Booker T wins the world title in the year 2000. So, and yeah, Big Fan Vader went on to regain the world title at the end of the year in a house show. So that's the whole point. So yeah, it's just like basically the world title kind of flip flop in 1992. Hot Potato belt to Luger was the world champion in the start of 1992. Then Sting won the belt, hold the belt for a bit. Then Vader won it at the Great American Bash, and then a month later he dropped the belt to Ron Simmons, become the first Black World Champion, and then end of the year, Vader ended the year as the World Champion and moved on to 1993. So moving on to technically the match of the night. This is an Iron Man match. We got Ravishing Rick Rude taking on Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. This is a personal rivalry. Steamboat returned to the company in 1991, feuded with the Dangerous Alliance, including Rick Rude, and the Dangerous Alliance, basically making these false accusations towards Steamboat, towards his family, basically offering something about like he had an affair with Medusa. That's a load of bullshit because Steamboat is the family man. Rude injured the nose of Ricky the Dragon Steamboat months prior. So yeah, this is a personal rivalry. Steamboat entered the ring with his wife and young Richie. It's a shame how Richie Steamboat's career never panned out because he was in NXT, had this feud with Ricky Cassius Ohno. That's Chris Hero, by the way. He got hurt and then he got released. It's a shame. I don't want to get into it. It's a shame how Richie Steamboat, he had potential. Unfortunately, it never panned out, and I don't know what he's doing right now. Is he still wrestling? Not too sure. Anyway, so the match between Steamboat and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Steamboat and Rude, my apologies, is match of the night. Former Intercontinental champions, and also Steamboat is also a former world champion. Rude ended up winning the world title the following year in 1993. Really, it was a really good match. It's really sad. 2 years later, their careers cut short due to injury. Anyway, so it was a really good match. Rude got the upper hand in the first quarter of this match. By the way, it's a 30-minute Iron Man match. He pins Steamboat with I think it was a knee to the face, a Rude Awakening, and a small package. And then Steamboat guys, got the combat. Rude got himself disqualified. Basically, did the move off the top rope, ultimate disqualification. And also I think it was a Tombstone Power Driver. Rude trying to hit a Tombstone Power Driver, and then Steamboat countered to hit his own version of the Tombstone Power Driver. My apology. It's really like hitting that finisher because at the time that was the Undertaker's move. So yeah, Steamboat hit the Tombstone Power Driver on Rude. Then he scored the third pinfall. It was basically a crucifix pin. So after he countered the I think it was a bridge suplex pin by Rude, he countered into a crucifix pin. So it's 3-3. And then the whole bulk. You had Steamboat Rude locking the sleeper hold onto Steamboat. Sorry, it's very confusing. I'm speaking too fast, by the way. I'm trying to say, Rude locking the sleeper hold onto Steamboat, and then hold it for quite a while until I think it was on the 36-second mark. And I think Rude basically Steamboat countered the sleeper hold, make it look like I think it was kind of like a pin or something. So Steamboat's 4-3 up. It was really good, back and forth, in the dying minutes, going for the pins. I think one more in the match, Steamboat hit his own Rude Awakening onto Rick Rude, hits his own finisher onto Rude, but foot on the ropes. That's before he scored the fourth pin. So in the end, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat won this match 4-3. Unfortunately, he didn't really won the title. Later on, there was a segment that Paulie dangerously said, you're not going to win the world title again, as Rude remains the champion. Then he started this feud with Cactus Jack, and then and then after his feud with Cactus Jack, and I think he was in a feud with Stunning Steve Austin. He went on to win the TV championship. And yeah, I'm not too sure he won the United States title in his run in WCW. I'm not really sure. Look it up. Just write down in the comment section below. Did he won the United States title in WCW? Talk about Ricky Steamboat. It's a shame. It's a really shame that Steamboat won the win. He took a double whammy, by the way. So he won the battle but lost the war. I wish I think they should have benefited have Rude defend the United States title on this show. It's just they could really make it like, yeah, Steamboat won the battle and the war, but it's just like I said, he took a double whammy, and for the consolation prize he went on to win the TV title. So it's just what the fuck. So moving on to the match number 6. This is a 6-man tag team match. We got 3 members of the Dangerous Alliance. That is Stunning Steve Austin, who is the TV champion, Arn Anderson, the Enforcer, and the late beautiful Bobby Eaton with Paulie Dangerously in their corner, taking on Dustin Rhodes, the future Goldust, Barry Windham, and Nikita Koloff. Match was good. Wasn't anything like a great match. It was a good match. It was a fun match. The match ended in disqualification. Arn Anderson. By the way, Ollie Anderson was as a special guest referee. Ollie Anderson, Arn and Ollie has history. They were a tag team. Ollie Anderson is the kayfabe brother of Arn Anderson. They were a tag team called the Minnesota Wrecking Crew, and also they were part of the Four Horsemen. Arn hit a move off the top rope. I think it was on Dusty Rhodes or not Dusty Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes. I know that they got similar names, by the way. So Arn hit the move off the top rope onto Dustin Rhodes, or maybe it's Barry Windham. It's one or the other. That ended up with the disqualification. It just made him like a dumbass. So the babyfaces won this match via disqualification. This was the end of the Dangerous Alliance as we know it, because the group disbanded in November. Paulie Dangerously, that's Paul Heyman, by the way, ended up leaving the company, due to I think it was pay disputes. He ended up going to ECW, revolutionized the company, put the company on the map, and the rest is history. Other members of the Alliance, or the Dangerous Alliance, really broke off doing their own thing. Medusa ended up leaving the company as well. Ended up going to the WWF as the Alundra Blaze, becoming the women's champion. Came back to the company in '96, dumped the WWF women's title in the bin. Then pursuit of the WCW women's title. Unfortunately, never won the title. Become the cruiserweight champion, and then I think she stick around until the company went out of business in 2001. I think, I'm not too sure, or maybe before the company went under. That was late 2000, I think. I'm not too sure. Anyway, so it was the end of the Dangerous Alliance. People say the Dangerous Alliance was the best. I think it was kind of like the best in the early 90s, before the Monday Night War began. I feel like the NWO was the best faction in WCW in the Monday Night War era. This group, the Dangerous Alliance, was the best faction in the pre-Monday Night War era. So that's my spiel on it. So moving on to the main event. So the main event, this is for I think it's the first of 2 title matches on the show. I think this is for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Oh, sorry. The WCW Tag Team Championship. My apologies. We got the Steiners. That is Rick and Scott Steiner, defending the belts against Dr. Death Steve Williams and Terry Gordy. Terry Gordy was a former member of the Fabulous Freebirds. Dr. Death and Terry Gordy, they were a tag team in Japan. I think the tag team names called the Violent Connection. I don't know what they're called. Winning the belts in, I think it was New Japan and All Japan, or maybe, I'm not too sure. So and also like Rick Steiner and Dr. Death Steve Williams were former members of the Varsity Club. That was the group in the late 80s before Rick Steiner got away from the group, formed the tag team with his brother Scott, and they became one of the best tag teams in professional wrestling history. One of the best. I don't know who. It's very debatable which tag team is the best. So anyway, the match was really good. Back and forth between the Steiners and Dr. Death and Terry Gordy. Back and forth. The match ended in a time limit draw. Disappointed, but it was just double. Like yeah, good match, but at the same time, not decisive winner. It kind of protect both of them. Sadly, both tag teams end up leaving the company before the start of 1993. Terry Gordy and Dr. Death Steve Williams defeat the Steiners a month later for the WCW Tag Team Championships. Then they went on to win the NWA World Tag Team Championships. I think it was in a tournament. And then Terry Gordy ended up leaving the company in October. The Steiners left the company in November, over pay disputes. End up going to the WWF. That was late 1992 to 1994. I'm not too sure I think they did win the WWF tag team titles in the only run in the company as a tag team, because Scott ended up going back to the company in 2002. Don't want to get into it. And then they had a cup of coffee in ECW in 1995 before going back to WCW in 1996. Stick around until the company went under in 2001. And and Steve Williams left the company after Starrcade. He came back in 1999 and 2000. It was a forgettable run, with being the bodyguard of Ed Ferrara, Oklahoma, and yeah, he had a forgettable run in the WWF as well. Like self-proclaimed trying to be a future winner of the Brawl for All, didn't happen. Don't want to get into it. So yeah, it's funny that both tag teams in the main event that show I'm talking about, that's Beach Splash, and then they end up leaving the company after that. So anyway, so my final rating for WCW Beach Splash 1992, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. This is a really good show. Really good show. No bad matches on the show. Just okay matches like Terry Taylor versus Ron Simmons. Like I said, just building Ron Simmons up for winning the world title later on in July. Bagwell versus Greg the Hammer Valentine. Okay match. The beauty contest was okay. It kind of served a purpose, but it wasn't a great segment, but at the same time wasn't terrible. The good is the good. It turned out to good to great matches. Like I like the opener, Scotty Flamengo versus Brian Pillman for the light heavyweight championship. I like Sting versus Cactus Jack, 4th count anywhere match. That was also a good match. The 6-man tag team match, despite of the DQ finish, still a fun match to watch. The two best matches of the show has to be the tag team title match, Steiners versus Dr. Death and Terry Gordy. And for me, the match of the night has to be Rude versus Steamboat in an Iron Man match. 30 minutes, it was fucking good. 1992's WCW, like I said, I think it's one of the best years in the company's history until the Monday Night War era in those mid to late 90s. Yeah, I suggest watching Beach Splash 1992. It's a fun show. So anyway, hope you enjoyed my review of WCW Beach Splash 1992. Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Smash the like button, click the like, click the bell. Subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube. Be part of the Central Unit for more wrestling videos and more. Next time, I'm going to do a poll from the Poll for All app. Your choices for the next summer theme WCW pay-per-view to review. Your choices are 2 Bash of the Beach pay-per-views featuring Dennis Rodman, that was in 1997 and 1998. Or you want me to review the shit WCW Bash of the Beach, that was the last one in the year 2000, that was known for Vince Russo cutting that shoot promo. Your choices, vote in the comment section below, or the description box for the next WCW pay-per-view to review. So this is Essential Man officially signing out. Check you later, and that's my review. My review of Beach Splash 1992. I'm gonna give it 2 thumbs up.